Hey YouTubers, welcome back. Darth Padre again with some Overwatch. This time I'm going to do something a little bit different. No real gameplay here. We're just going to go over what that is, how to get ready for it, some tips and tricks that I have. Sorry, my neck's a little hurt, so trying to stretch it out so I can get a good view of you all. So a couple weeks ago, I want to say about 2 weeks, Blizzard had implemented this competitive play. I actually don't like the term competitive play because I think it gives the wrong impression about what it actually is. I think it's more ranked play. And here's why I say that. What it does is after 10 games, it gives you this rating. And then after you have a rating, it puts you in matches with people with a similar rating. So though there is a competition going on as to who can get the highest rating, what it does is it puts you in games that you're more likely to do your best in or have the most challenge because it's other players that have a very similar rating that you do. So it should be called ranked play. Anyways, that's going to be my rant for the day. But let's get kind of into it. So the first thing to qualify for competitive play is that you have to be level 25. And in doing so, here's a couple tips and tricks. If you're not already there, one thing you're going to definitely want to do is be good at one of every type of character. So be good at one offensive character, one defensive character, one Sorry, headphones again. One offensive character, one defensive character, one tank, and one support character. At least one of each of those. If you can do two of each of them or two of a couple of them, even better. You're also going to want to know the maps as well as possible. So if you haven't hit 25 yet, I definitely suggest learning more characters. That would be the first thing, learning more heroes. And also, to learn the map, I would stay away from the versus AI. I would definitely focus on more of the versus other people. Let me go ahead and go to that. So when you actually go to quick play, or actually, let me cancel that before we get in there. When you go to play, you'll have the option of playing versus AI or going into quick play. Playing versus AI, it definitely helps learn the character. There's no doubt about that, but not the map, because most times what happens is you're just spawn camping the artificial intelligence, and you don't get to see the whole map. So when you play quick play, you've got definitely more of an opportunity to play the whole map. Learning a map is always good in shooter-based games, in most games. Knowing the map intimately, it gives you a huge advantage over other players that don't. But definitely in competitive play, it's going to be very important. If you are already 25 and you qualify, but you're still not used to your heroes, like you don't have one of each, I would highly suggest going into play versus AI and learning those heroes that way. Also, if you're comfortable with heroes, you're comfortable with maps, but you're not at 25 yet, playing versus AI is another way to really get a lot of experience without having to play competitively. You can basically, it's a brain dead way of gaining experience. You don't have to focus on your gameplay. But again, I would just kind of suggest quick play for most of it, just to get used to maps, and it gets you a little bit more experience to play in these. So the first thing is get used to the maps. Have a hero in each class that you're used to. If you can have more than one hero in each class, awesome. If not, at least one hero in each class. And here's why I say that. When you're ready to go, you're 25, you think you've got good grasp of your heroes, and you know your maps pretty well. If you don't have a team that you regularly play with, you're going to be put in a team of basically randoms. And to be able to have a good team composure is one of the most important aspects of this game. Having too many of a certain hero, too many of a certain hero type, and not enough of other hero types is detrimental to the progress of the game. Really good teams can often go without certain characters, but they know what they're doing. If you're going in there with people you don't know, it's going to be a lot tougher. So what I do is when I start off right off the bat, when you're at the character select, I'm just going to pick this. You guys have seen it before, but nonetheless, let's just do this. When you're ready to pick your character class, I would go to the character you are the most comfortable with right off the bat. Obviously, the one that's good for the attack or defense, whatever you're doing, but go to that hero and select him right off the bat, and it kind of lets your team know that, hey, this is the character I want to pick. And hopefully they will see that, and they'll pick other heroes that support that character or build a good team composition. But a lot of times, I'm just going to cancel out of this because it's not helping us. A lot of times people will pick the same character you do, or they'll pick the same class you do, just because they're really, really used to it and they don't want to stretch. In which case, you're going to have to change your character to something that supports the team a little bit better. While we're on that subject, if you're not playing with a group of people that you know, I also highly suggest going on team chat, and on your team to get on team chat as possible. Being able to vocalize commands, call out enemies mainly, being the most important of all, is so important. And even though you may have never played with these people, you'll find that there are other people out there who want to do the same thing you do. They're in it to win it. They want to communicate. They'll call out enemies. People are generally pretty good about that. It's a general rule, meaning like 60+% will do that. There's still going to be a 40% that's going to be the 13-year-old shithead who isn't listening and is just clouding the mic. But fortunately, that's rarer. Nonetheless, if you're able to get people on the comm channels, awesome. Talk stuff out, call out enemies, let them know what you're doing, so on and so forth. If you can't, there's in-game communication. There is in-game communication that you don't need a microphone for. I'm just going to go to the practice range and kind of show you that. I wouldn't abuse this by any means, because first, it's going to take away from your gameplay, but second, people will stop listening to you. But yeah, whoever, it doesn't matter.
One shot.
So on the PlayStation, you hold down on the control pad, and you've got all of these selections that you can actually pick from. Most of them don't do much, but the ones that are going to be most important are group up. Like, you want the team to group up on you, and that comes up on the left, says, hey, group up on me, Darth Padre, I'm Widowmaker. The other one is giving your ultimate status. So letting them know that it's charged is the main thing, but you can let them know you're close if you're getting into you're about to get into a battle, and then acknowledging somebody else actually saying something. So I do see that these will work sometimes, not a lot of times. Obviously, the mic is a much better way of actually doing it, but there are times where these in-game kind of commands absolutely have helped me in certain situations. So if you have a team, go in with your team. If you don't have a team, try to get on mics as much as possible. If you can't get on mics, definitely use these in-game commands. Once you're launched and you're in game, you have 10 matches that you've got to complete before it actually gives you a rank and before you're actually part of the season. In these matches, you're trying to win. I would almost say you're trying to win at all costs. I think wins are way more important than your individual stats when it comes to it ranking. I was really fortunate that even though I played with randoms, I got on some really good teams, and I went 8-2. I hope that I helped a little bit with it, obviously, but I went 8-2, and it ranked me pretty high. I think I got 55 right off the bat, which is like top 15 percentile. And I mean, if you guys have watched this, you'll know that I'm above average at best. I mean, if you saw that McCree video that I posted yesterday, I mean, I just did absolutely horribly. So I'm not like the best player out there, but I was aware of all these things that I'm kind of telling you guys right now. I was able to get on comms with a couple of the teams, and we were able to really communicate really well. In one of the games, no one was on comms, and I was trying to use those in-game chats, but no one was even looking at those or paying attention. That happened to be one of the ones we lost. I couldn't say that if we were communicating we would have won, but I gotta feel like it would have given us a better chance. Picking your character. As I said before, when you go to pick your character, do the one that you think is the best right off the bat, and then see if your team picks around you. If you're in voice chat, you can obviously express this, but with competitive games, it doesn't take you back to a lobby to get matched after your first match. It puts you in like a totally different lobby. You have to relaunch it. So when you're picking your character, it's often you're not going to be in comms yet. So again, when you're ready to pick your character, pick the one that you're most comfortable with. When you're attacking, make sure you're not picking like an overly defensive character, and when you're defending, make sure that you're not picking like overly offensive characters. For instance, I'm using Widowmaker. I'm tooling around while I'm talking to you guys. She's not really good on attack. I mean, maybe if the sniper is really, really good and they know what to do, but in general, she's just not really good at it. So again, make sure you're picking the right character for what you're doing. Then I would say, if someone else picks your character and you want to change around, again, pick the second most comfortable, so on and so forth. While you're playing, play to win. Don't sacrifice yourself unless absolutely needed. I do believe your individual stats count a little bit, so don't be the meat shield just for meat shield purposes. When you got to when it's overtime, you got to capture that objective, and that is the only choice, is to go run into 4 or 5 enemies. Definitely do that, but be smart about it. I would say that support characters are one of the more important. I didn't see very many people actually playing these support characters. I like Lucio a lot, so I was playing him a lot, and I think that's what gave me an advantage, was that people weren't really necessarily playing him, and he's one of my better characters, so I'm helping the team and I'm helping myself. Once you're in the game, I've noticed that if someone on your team leaves, it gives you an amount of time to leave without it affecting your rank. Now, I tried this once, and it didn't actually work. It told me someone on my team had left, and that I've got 1 minute or something to leave, and it... Anyways, it said I had 1 minute to leave, and we were losing pretty badly by that point in time, so I left, and it actually affected my rank. I had already been rated, so I was just playing a ranked game or a competitive game, but it still negatively impacted me. So I may have been missing something. Pay attention to that. If someone on your team leaves and you know you're going to lose, if it gives you an option to leave without it affecting your ranking, I would highly suggest that. However, there were a couple times where someone left on my team, twice actually, and we still managed to win it. So, pay real close attention to how close you are to winning. Everybody kind of knows you're down to 5 people. It's still doable. I wouldn't give up completely. I think if you lead a certain amount of games, it does ultimately start to affect things. So I guess what I'm saying is only leave the match if, like, it's last resort. You absolutely know you're going to be losing it anyways, and not only are you going to lose it, but it's probably going to affect your personal score because, they're spawn camping you or whatever. Only do it in those type of situations. Other than that, I mean, obviously play to have fun. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. What happens after you rank on those 10 matches is it gives you a score, and then it starts putting you into games with people with your similar score. So unless you want to go balls deep, hardcore all the time, don't do it for your 10 qualification matches, because it's going to be putting you in games where your skill level was based on going balls deep, basically. So, I did it to where I was mildly competitive, more competitive than I normally play this game, but not as competitive as I play other games. I was not on edge. I was still having fun with it. I was still laughing when appropriate, those kind of things. But I was taking it super seriously. General rules is always sit up straight when you're playing these games. I know it sounds funny. I sound like your mom when I'm saying that, but you do play so much better for multiple reasons. Arm positioning, the fact of... I'm not even going to get into the metaphysics of it all. It's just a good thing. Make sure you're picking a good time. Make sure you're ready to play these games. Don't be tired. Don't be under-caffeinated. However you normally play your games, make sure you're in kind of the best mode to do it. Last, don't feel like you got to bang out all 10 of these qualification matches in one sitting. In fact, that's probably very ill-advised. The games are longer than normal. And so, you know, I think they can take up to, you know, 20 minutes plus each time. And if you try to do 10 of them, I mean, you can do the math there really quick. It's in my opinion, not a good idea. Unless you are just absolutely on fire and nothing can go wrong, then I would definitely don't break up that streak. Then, you know, again, once you're in competitive mode, or as you're, you know, once you're ranked, or once as you've become ranked, and you're meeting people along the way in comms, if you find somebody who's like, okay, this guy's talented, he's helpful, and I'm getting along with him, friend him. You know, start building these teams. That's how I've basically found my group, my game community, and I've been with these guys for 5 years. And I've known some of the people that I game with for like 6. But it was a game like this where I happened to be on comms, and I'm like, hey, anybody else on comms? And someone would speak up. We'd get along. We'd play together really well. And here we are, like 5 years later. There's no real clan support in this game, so you know, there's probably clan support outside it. You can check Reddit or other gaming forums, and I'm sure there are clans that, you know, will kind of take you in and help you out. So that is yet a different method. The one thing I'll say about clans is, if you're going to join one, ask a lot about how they train or how they help their new players, because a lot of clans just want players to get in, and they don't want to train them to be better. It's easy to put together a clan with people who are already good, but it's not easy to take someone who's below average or average and make them really good. And so find out if they're about making average players or below average players better, and then those are kind of the clans for you. I'm assuming if you're like a really good player, you're probably not needing my advice and not watching this. So, you know, don't be insulted by the fact that I'm saying, hey, if you're an average or below average player, I'm, like I said, an average or maybe above average player. So, you know, around my skill level. I would, if I were looking for a new clan, would still want to know how, you know, they assimilate new players, and how they train them, how they make them better. So I think that's all I've got for now for the kind of tips and tricks. I will be posting some more competitive matches later.
Double kill.
As I said, I will post some more competitive matches later, so you guys can see how those actually go. But I'm probably not going to be explaining them because I think I'll probably be with some friends, and you know, I don't have to do both of those at the same time. So anyways, thanks for watching. If you have any questions specifically related to competitive mode, feel free to post them. If I get enough of them, I'll do another video and kind of try to explain and do like a Q&A sort of thing. But other than that, obviously, thanks for watching. As always, hit like and subscribe. Darth Padre on YouTube, and keep it real, YouTubers. Bye-bye.